G'day everybody, it's Matt here from Matt Carve. So today I am going to be carving this carving right here. A little while ago I carved that one on the right, which is quite a complex carving, but I've simplified things down, so we're going to do a step-by-step how to carve this carving so you can see how different they are. So the one on the left is the one we're going to carve, and I've kind of made it three-dimensional, but it's kind of two-dimensional really, so it doesn't have the back of the skull on. So all you need is a little piece of wood, and it's quite good if the wood has got a bit of a curve on. You might want to carve this on a branch or something like that. I tend to put in some reference lines here. I do sort of like the middle and the middle, and so we're going to carve the skull without the jaw. So that line that I'm putting in now is the teeth there at the bottom, and we're just going to put in the eyes here. So it just needs to be rough. Sort of like these skulls are quite stylized, so you don't need to worry too much about dimensions, but there are a few little rules there that you can follow. So we're going to be putting in the nose there, so you can see the nose is quite long, and so it sort of goes up into the eye sockets and then past the eye sockets down, just like a normal nose would, you know. And so when you're drawing in the eyes, you can do them as circles, but they look quite cool if you try and draw like aviator glasses. So that's what I've done there, and this does not look like a skull at this point. I'm going to admit that. So and there's the sort of like the nasal passages, I guess you would say, and that is the nose, and I'm just going to like quickly put in the teeth there, so then we've got a bit of a idea. So there's a bone that goes along there, so it's sort of like glasses, but the arm of the glasses go on the bottom side of the glasses there, and just putting in that line there, sort of it goes in like that. So here we go, we're starting on the carving. This is, we've probably all got this, if we're carving we've probably all got this burr. This is the extreme flame burr. It's a very popular burr. So I use that for the nasal passages as well. So I'm just sort of like sketching things in at the moment. So what I tend to do when I carve is I'll put like things in and then just keep on refining them as I go. So I have the ability to change things a little bit if things seem a little bit out of proportion. So I might increase the size of the eyes or the size of the nose. So here we go. We want to sort of like take that bridge down, so just as you would doing a normal person carving, you want to sort of like carve that first part of the nose. Okay, so we're just working on that bridge, and you can see on the right there, that's what we're kind of aiming for. So it's not like a normal nose, which is that's a normal nose where the nose goes out and then back in. So here we go, we're just putting on the sort of, I guess, their cheekbones there. We're just sort of like sketching it in here, and I'm using a Kutzall Sphere here. It's quite a big one, and I find this really good for sort of like getting into sort of like the eye sockets and all that kind of stuff. So, and just sketching in that part of the nose there and sort of starting to refine things a little bit more. I've got the tapered sort of fine burr there. Now we're carving into cedar today, which is very soft, so it's quite easy to carve. And I finished off the bottom of the nose there with the flame burr. So I put in that mark there, so just to show you, don't carve down the nose anymore. Sort of take the sides away and all of that. So you want a high point at that point where I've put in the pencil mark there, so I won't touch that at all. Okay, so it's back to the flame burr, and we are blocking out again. So I'm taking that really skinny there under the cheekbones and onto the teeth, and I'll take those teeth sort of narrower there as well, but I'll just concentrate on that bit there and sort of start smoothing it out. And you want to work from one side to the other side to sort of like keep it symmetrical. So just, yeah, so keep sort of like looking at one side and then go back to the other side and work on that. So I'm just sort of like taking the teeth down a little bit here so they're a little bit more even, so that they're sort of like not as far out as that bit there. So here we go, and I'm also going to leave that bit there. There's a little part in the nose that you sort of like leave that bit there as well. There you can see it there on that one. This is like little bits there you can add on that have sort of like on normal skulls you get those little bits there. So it's quite good to add on those things. So yeah, just refining sort of like that area there. So we're going to work on sort of behind the eye now. And you want to take that in and you want to be quite severe in that. So it's sort of like working that part there. And if you get to see sort of like on this part here, if we compare it to this one, you can sort of see the skull goes back out again, but just above the eyes it goes in. So we're just using a Kutzall. You could use a flame burr here, but I found this one quite good actually. So we're just sort of like getting that shape right, and we sort of like, it's good to feel sort of like everything is sort of like similar with like one hand and then the other hand on the other side. So that's what I do a lot, sort of like, especially carving like faces and all that kind of stuff. So we're just refining that nose again, just going in. I was going to like work down from sort of like the eyes to the nose, and then I'll put in the teeth. So we're just marking in where the teeth are going to go there. So here, when you do the teeth, you want to go straight down from that middle part of the nose. And I just put in like 2 teeth just to give me an idea. And on a skull just above the teeth, they sort of like have sort of like concaves. And that looks quite cool. So I'm just using the extreme burr there, and you'll see me sort of like go along. They're probably a little bit stylized on this one and a little bit extreme if you were to compare it to a normal skull. But this isn't a normal skull, so this is kind of like what you're going to do for Halloween and those kind of things. So I'm going to put the teeth in here with the little tiny sphere burr there. Okay, so what we're doing with this sphere burr is really putting in the shape of the tooth. The teeth, I should say, not tooths. Okay, so, and the gum line above the tooth, which is the most important part, what we're doing with that sphere burr. And so now I'm taking out those ridges, but I'm leaving that top part. So you can imagine sort of like the gum line going across that top part. So I'm just taking down those ridges there. And then we will go back in and we will put in the sort of like the lines in between the teeth. So where the ridges used to be, that's where we're going to put in the lines. So we do that with a real skinny kind of diamond burr. And so with the teeth, what you want to do is you want to try and round the top of the teeth. And don't be too pedantic on like making each tooth look exactly the same. You know, we don't want our skeleton to have like that Hollywood smile, you know. It's been decaying for a little while, so you know, put some holes in the teeth and all of that kind of stuff. So you can sort of see that tooth there, it's got a nice round kind of aspect to the top. And if you really go in deep with those lines too, it makes it look quite cool. Makes it look like the actual individual kind of teeth. So we're working on that. I actually went under the teeth as well like that. And I found like then I'd go like that and it would sort of give sort of like more definition to the tooth. So I also go in and I just add lines onto the teeth. You don't want it completely flat. And the bottom of the teeth I just sort of like really scuff it up so it looks a little bit more real and it's not so flat on the bottom. So there we go. I just sped that up a little bit. So really, you know, teeth are, once you get the hang of it, it's quite easy and quite fun. And with the carving, I just go over with a diamond burr just to smooth things out because it's cedar. It's really easy to sculpt a little bit more with that diamond burr. And then I went over with a little bit of sandpaper so you can see it there. Okay, so just a few little tips at the end here. So don't worry too much about like if it's not perfect around here. It is a skull, so you want it to look a bit crackly and all of that kind of stuff. And so looking at the other skull there, they all a little bit different. So this one's a little bit longer, but it still looks pretty cool. And if you want to get the nose sticking out a bit more, take the eye socket back a bit. So do that with the burr. And yeah, so I quite like the eyes like that. and it looks like that grain. So just in there, remember to leave that septum there in between. That makes it look pretty cool. And those are the ridges that go down onto the teeth, and a final look at those teeth. They look great. Well, I think they do. Anyway, hey, thank you for watching, and I hope this helped you. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. There is an affiliate link for the Kutzall burrs in the description. Okay, so if you want to see this very complicated skull being carved, click on that link. And happy carving, everybody, and we will see you next time.